Hey y'all. So, as y'all can probably tell, I did not post a video Friday. Basically, it was just too hot out here and I couldn't get a video done because of all the noises. And so, it's kind of windy out, so I hope it doesn't mess with the audio. But, like I said, it's hot. So, y'all aren't going to get a walking around video. There's really nothing much to show you. Everything's kind of died from spring, and so fall stuff, it's about to start getting planted, and that'll probably be next week's video if I can get one day that's cool enough to do it. So today I'm going to tell y'all about how I got chickens. Yeah, how I got my chickens. There are bugs on my legs. Yeah, so when I was about 15, I decided I wanted chickens, and we went to this local thing called an Ag Expo, and that's kind of where I decided that I wanted chickens. And so my mom told me, if you go home and ask your papa and he says yes, or he would be the final decision, basically. Well, I went home and I said, Papa, I really want these chicks, and I was not expecting him to say yes. My mom was not expecting him to say yes. But he said yes. So off we went back to this thing to get these chicks. And we were not prepared. We had a box. We did not have a box. We didn't have a box. Everybody else had a shoe box or a cardboard box. And we did not. It was in January. So we basically just stuffed them in our jacket pockets until we got to the car. And when we got to the car, we found something to put them in. And we stopped by a local feed store and we got them all the stuff that they would need, and brought them home. Well, like I said, it was January, so it was cold outside. And so they couldn't go outside automatically, and because they were just too small. And so I raised them inside. We had no clue what they were. Nobody on our local chicken page knew what they were. And so finally someone was like, I think those are Cornish hens, or they're Cornish chickens. And I didn't know anything about them. I don't think Google even knew anything about them at the time. I just wasn't looking at the right spots. But if you know anything about Cornish breeds, they're meat chickens. And I had plans to raise these chickens as my pets. And so I raised them up, and come spring, they were able to go outside, and we built them this coop. None of us are carpenters, so it was a little smaller than was planned, but that's fine. We built them this coop. It was great. I let them out every day after school. They roamed around the yard. They would sit under our chairs. And it turned out that 3 of them were roosters, and one of them was a hen. And so we couldn't have roosters in the city. We could get away with having a hen or 2, but we couldn't have a rooster. And so I had to get rid of the roosters. And still, I had no plans of this chicken becoming food. I didn't know anything about her besides she ate and she liked to sit under chairs. And so I had this hen, and she was probably my best friend. She was the apple of my eye, all that fun stuff. And right around the time we gave away the roosters, she just got sick. She wouldn't eat. It was almost like she couldn't see her food to eat. She wasn't drinking any water, and so we thought, oh, well, maybe she's egg bound. Well, she was not egg bound. She was a meat chicken. And so we checked her, and she wasn't egg bound, and we didn't know what was going on. And like I said, we didn't know anything about chickens. My papa knew a little bit, but he didn't really know. We were just kind of going with the flow. and she was just real sick one day, and so I came out here with my mom's favorite towel and scooped her up out of the coop, and I was going to walk around. I was going to the front yard with her and just sit with her, and it was pouring down rain, y'all. And I got to the front of the yard, and she basically just like had a heart attack and died in my arms. We found out that she actually had bumblefoot, which even now, I don't know how she got it. I guess standing on, she got on something, but knock on wood, none of my chickens have had bumblefoot since her. But, you know, I mean, I was probably 16 by then. I was still 15, because she died right before my birthday. And I mean, as you could probably guess, she was like my biggest heartbreak at that time. She was my best friend. She was still to this day, she was just my sweetest chicken. And so, pouring down rain, we buried her. And it just so happened that we had chicken that night to eat. My parents had actually left to go get dinner, and my papa was home, and I literally walked in with her in my arms. And I mean, y'all, just hold on. I literally walked in the house. My papa was sitting in his recliner. I literally walked in the house and was like, and said, "Luna's dead," and I walked out. And I walked back in there, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Luna's dead." And I mean, I was just, like I said, I was heartbroken. It was bad. And so he convinced me finally to put her in a towel. To put her in a trash bag, and we would bury her when my parents got home. And so, pouring down rain, we went and had this visual. I don't even know what it is. We went and talked about good memories with her as we buried her in the backyard. And so, kind of after that, I was like, I don't want any more chickens. I'm done. And it just so happened that a few months later, she died in May, and in February, I got home from school, and my papa was like, "Why don't you go look in the backyard?" And I knew something was up, because like, you don't just tell somebody to go look in the backyard. And so I went to the backyard, and there was these little bitty game hens. They weren't much bigger than my hand. They were just the cutest thing ever, and I became obsessed with them. They were my new babies. They were not socialized at all. They didn't like me at all. And so, I began to socialize them and hold them and feed them, and I still have videos of the first time that I got to meet them. And for a few years, they were my babies. I loved them to death. And then one year, I said, "You know what? I want chicks." And I did not ask my papa. I didn't even ask my parents. I just bought some chicks. I mean, I literally like picked up two and said, "I'm gonna get these two." And I bought these little bitty chicks, and they were the cutest thing ever. And I brought them home, and once again, it was early spring, so it was too cold for them to go outside, because we hadn't even had our last frost. And they were a handful, y'all. They still are a handful to today, and they're two. Oh, still, I don't know how I did it. They slept in my room, and of course they stink. And they're the reason I say I'm never getting chicks again to raise on my own. Like, I'll let mama hen raise chicks. I am not raising chicks, though. And so, but I basically kept them in my room, and they would chirp all night long. And so I would basically have to go inside and get them. I put them in bed with me on a towel, and I would sleep with them in my arm, and they slept. I'm surprised I didn't kill them and squish them. They were spoiled. And so finally, when it was time for them to go outside, they went outside. I was ready for them to go outside. They were outside. They were raised beside, or not really raised, they grew up beside my 2 older hens. Basically, they lived with them. And then the time came that it was time to integrate them. And there's actually a video on my channel of the integration that I had to do with them. Just one night I opened up their coop and connected it with the big coop, and so best of luck. And I stayed up all night and came out like multiple times during the night to check on them. And then by the time they were integrated, one of my hens decided she wanted to be a mom, and I couldn't just let that go to waste. And so I let her be a mom. I contacted somebody that was on our local chicken page and said, hey, you know, I have a broody, does anybody have any eggs? And she said, I do, you know, they're a farm mix, so I can't promise anything, but you're more than welcome to have some. And so she gave me 12. And I think to begin with, 4 weren't even fertilized. 2 died midway through. Something happened to the other 3. No. Something happened to the other 2. I don't remember what happened. It might have been 6 weren't fertilized. I don't remember. But anyways, by the end of like lockdown period, by the end of when they were about to hatch, I had 4 eggs left. 1 hatched, and we don't know what happened. She didn't live. I think the mom might have pecked her to death, but she didn't live. And then I have my 2 that I have now, and then we had 1 egg that it didn't hatch by the time mom was getting off of the eggs to like go tend to the chicks in the bottom of the coop. And so I just kind of discarded that egg because it wasn't hatching within like 3 or 4 days of the other ones. And so yeah, I now have 5 chickens. One of the game hens that I originally had died just a few months ago, maybe like 6 months ago. And I'm good with my 5. So we have Annabelle, who is a game hen, Carrie Belle, who is a Isa Brown, but I really don't think she's an Isa Brown. I think she's a Rhode Island Red, because she has no tendencies besides laying an egg every day. So we're just gonna hope she's a Rhode Island Red, because apparently Isa Browns only live like 2 years, and I don't want my hen to die. So and then we have Mary Belle, who is a black Australope, Sophie Belle, who is an Easter egger, and Maybelle, who is a silky mix. I know she's silky because she has blue skin, but I think she's silky and Polish mixed together. Yeah. So yeah, that's my chickens, and that's how I got chickens. I'm satisfied with my 5, like I said. I might not be saying that next spring, but I definitely know I will not be raising chicks anymore by myself in the house. The cleanup is too messy for me. Keeping them warm and happy is too messy for me, and so I'll just let Mama do that, and it's much easier for me, and I get my chick void filled, and I don't have to do the work. So yeah, so that's this Friday. Well, it's not Friday. I think I'm gonna post this on Saturday. So this is this Saturday's video. Hopefully by next Friday I'll have videos up again. I just didn't have videos this week because I was sick majority of the week. I actually had to miss school. And then Friday I literally like caught up on schoolwork, and then by the time I could get out here it was too dark and it was too hot still. So, but it was kind of nice right now. So I might start this Friday's video. I don't know yet. I don't know. Bye, y'all.